Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk, episode 19. Let's talk about Temptation Island. So, if you have never heard of this show, this is one of Netflix's. I'll start from the beginning. So, I was on Netflix looking for something to watch. My husband is away right now, my husband Steven. That's why if you see me glancing over multiple times, it's because I'm looking at the baby monitor to make sure that Autumn is not waking up, not freaking out, not asking for me. But I digress. So, I was on Netflix looking for something to watch, looking, just to kind of unwind because I have a really bad habit of watching the same shows and movies over and over and over and over again because I get so anxious about new storylines because, like, what happens if they start going down a road that I don't agree with? What happens? I just think of all these thoughts. And one of Netflix's, like, top 10 shows was Temptation Island. And obviously that really struck me at first because you hear the word temptation and my brain automatically, goes to the Bible. Like I'm automatically thinking temptation, the fall, the Bible, all that stuff. And so I click on it. And essentially what the show is about is couples go to an island. Okay, and there's four couples, and I'll get into the details of the couples a little bit later. And couples go to an island to be tempted. Okay, so the guys go into one villa, the girls go into another villa, and then there are 10 single guys that come in, 10 single girls that come in, and the 10 single girls go and live with the guys who have girlfriends, and the 10 single guys go and live with the girls who have the boyfriends. And then each week the guys will get together for a little bonfire, and then the girls will get together for a little bonfire, and they'll watch footage of their significant other either being loyal to them or cheating on them. I'm so serious. And I'm a girl, I'm a chick. So I love the reality shows. I love Love is Blind. I've watched some of the other ones too. I love reality television. But the minute I figured out that this is what this TV show was about, my heart honestly sank because it was also a TV show that was recommended for me. And I think partially it's because, I'm into reality television, but partially because of the shows and movies I'm watching are for my age demographic. And so this is a super popular TV show. And when I looked it up, it's like one of Rotten Tomatoes' top rated reality shows. So I thought I would watch the first episode and give you guys kind of the rundown. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, why should I care? I don't care. Okay, this show is one of Netflix's top 10 TV shows. And you have to think that, TV and movies, and we just talked about music, those have a huge influence on the culture. Those have a huge influence on my age group and younger. And, if you're a mom listening or a grandma, etc., they're going to have a huge influence on, your niece or nephew or your daughter or your granddaughter. And these are the type of shows that they're watching because honestly, these are the type of shows that I watch, the romantic reality television. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. So I hit play on this episode. The first line, I literally wrote it down. The first line of the show, quote, I think human nature is to be tempted. I think we are born into a world full of temptation, unquote. And so the minute that this show begins, and this line is said, I think we are born into a world full of temptation. I don't know. It's kind of, acknowledging that we live in a fallen world, but that, we're kind of acknowledging the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you get that impression? I do. Because when he says, it's the guy, I think we are born into a world full of temptation. He's almost recognizing this biblical principle that when we're born, we're coming into a world that's already fallen. And that kind of counteracts this argument that we hear a lot of the times where especially you hear from my age and younger that everybody's basically good, everybody's setting out to do basically good, we just need to have faith in humanity. So then we're introduced to each couple. So couple number one is Ashley and Grant. They have been dating for a year and a half, and they think that their relationship will be stronger afterwards due to this experience. Couple number two, Brian and Shantae. They have been dating for 1 year. And Shantae says that her boyfriend's way of proving he wants to be in a committed relationship with her is being on this show. And I mean, right off the bat, if you feel like you have to bring your boyfriend on a reality show where all of these women will literally be living in the same, quarters as him, trying to, I mean, basically, they're trying to get him to, you know, have sex with them. It's like, if you feel like that's the reason and that's the way you have to have your boyfriend prove to you that he loves you, he just doesn't love you. If you have to physically bring your boyfriend to a remote island on television, surrounded by women, trying to get him to sleep with them and cheat on you, it's over, sis, and it needs to be done. Couple number three, Alexa and Lino. They've been dating for 3.5 years. And so the girl wants to get engaged. However, the guy says, quote, I want to feel sure in myself. Listen, this is like when you really like a guy and you're telling him, I want to be in a committed relationship with you, and he says, "Well, I just want to keep my options open because, I don't want to hurt you or whatever." This is another prime example. You just got to be done. You just got to be done. If you've been dating for 3.5 years and they're in their like late 20s, early 30s, and he says, quote, I want to feel sure in myself. That's why he's on the show, because he just wants to make sure he's making the right call. No, he wants to make sure that, he's fulfilling any physical desires he has before he commits to marriage. Because our society has made marriage seem like some horribly negative thing where if you're married to somebody and you're only physical with that person for the rest of your life, you're basically stuck in hell. That's essentially what our culture, has made marriage to be. That's what they've made, childhood to be, like having children, and it's just awful. And couple number four is Tyler and Taylor. And basically, their whole intro, the girl is horrified to be there. She clearly has absolutely 0% trust in her boyfriend. And the boyfriend's like, oh, we're going to be good. So, I only watched the first episode, but I already know where this is going. Okay, so I kind of took some notes, so I watched the whole episode. Overall, it's an awful show that I would not recommend to literally anybody to watch. It's not like inappropriate in the sense where I was, going against anything to watch it. However, though, they bring out these girls. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to take a breath. The show is awful, basically. It's pretty inappropriate. I would not watch it. So they do their little intros, all the guys seem fairly confident, all the girls seem fairly terrified. So then they kind of explain the premise of the show, and then the host of the show kind of goes one by one and gets a little bit more detail as to why they're there. So he kind of goes into detail and is fishing for information, why are you here specifically? And kind of, it's clear that he has the full story and he's trying to get them to spill the tea, spill the dirt, if you will. So the first couple, Ashley and Grant, he's kind of like, okay, what about you guys? Why are you here? And she literally tells the host, Ashley does, that within a month of when she began dating Grant, he cheated on her. So I'm like, sis, why are you bringing your boyfriend to an island full of beautiful, single, half naked women because they're on an island? So, of course, they have to wear, floss and toothpaste for a swimsuit. Why are you bringing him to this island if he literally has a history of cheating on you? So obviously the host is like, okay, well, the host honestly is the best part of the show. Okay, then next he goes to couple number three, Alexa and Lino, I mean, and those are they are the ones that were together for 3.5 years, and she wants to get engaged, and he's like, I want to be sure of myself. And so the host goes to them, and he's like, okay, why are you guys here? Tell me, the tea, give me the details. And this time the guy is like, well, Alexa was dating, me and another guy exclusively at the same time. And so now you kind of see the roles reverse a little bit. He has a little bit of trust issues with her. And so you're watching this kind of unfold. So couple number two, Brian and Shantae, this is where it kind of got a little interesting. So Brian explains that he met Shantae through a mutual friend at church, right? So it's clear like he goes to church. He said that himself. And so I'm thinking, okay, Christian question mark, but why are you here question mark? Then it just completely goes off the rails. He then admits that they've had, premarital sex. He's had threesomes before, he basically, he says multiple times, I love sex, all of this stuff. And so it's like, they have these people on almost as kind of like the poster children to say, look, you can be a Christian, but you can also be, quote, cool, unquote. And so and then Shantae, that's basically her whole reason of coming is he likes to have threesomes, he likes to have a lot of sex, and she's worried that they're going to get married and he's going to cheat on her. But he's a Christian. I've noticed this trend a lot when I watch these different types of TV shows or, when I watch those Jubilee videos that they do where they have different people come on and debate and everything. The people who they bring on that are Christians or conservatives, they're always genuinely the absolute worst example of what it is to be a Christian or what it is to be a conservative or just both. On a TV show, they're always the cuckoo crazy ones. Or, in these debates, they're always the ones that don't have any answers for anything. They have absolutely no knowledge. Or like on a show that I used to watch a lot, You on Netflix, the one about the crazy stalker dude. I just saw a clip that I completely forgot about because that just wasn't in my mental headspace when I was watching it the first time, where this dad is apologizing to this woman because her kid got sick. And he's like, yeah, we just don't vaccinate our children because we don't believe in it. And the woman literally murders him because, again, conservatives are made to be these crazy people that harm people, that make people, not feel welcome, that make people, that literally kill people. It's just, so it's a whole thing. So Brian is made out to be some Christian guy who enjoys premarital sex, threesomes, and now, to be fair, all of us are sinners, okay? And to a certain extent, the devil makes sin seem enjoyable because if he didn't make it seem enjoyable, we would never sin, And so it's like, if he came on the show, this Brian guy, and said, I have a really bad history of sexual problems and sexual sin, and I'm here to prove to, my girlfriend that I'm not going to commit that sin against her, when we're married, and I'm here to kind of like, blah, 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 blah. Clearly, maybe Temptation Island isn't the best avenue. Maybe you should actually go to church. However, that's different. Like that would be an accurate representation of what it means to be a Christian, repenting of your sin and trying to be better and asking for forgiveness. But no, he's just like, I love to have threesomes and all this stuff. Like he literally later on in the show, when the singles come out, he's like, oh, I love that girl's butt, just right in front of his girlfriend. It's awful. He's genuinely my least favorite person. Then we skip on to couple number 4, and that's Tyler and Taylor. And, okay, in their intro, she seems absolutely terrified of what this guy's going to do. Like, it's clear that she thought this was a good idea when they signed up, and then they got there, and she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so the host goes to them. They're the final couple, and he's like, so, why are you guys here? Explain this to me. And he's like, how did you guys meet? Where are you guys going? All the normal questions. And Tyler's like, well, I met her when she was bartending at a bar. Normal. Okay. Meet cute. Okay. Little meet cute. Then he goes, when I was with my wife. Okay. Tyler was married when he met Taylor. She was bartending. He went out with his wife on a date night, met her, then got separated from his wife, was not legally divorced, and says this on television. He says, I wasn't legally divorced, but we were separated, and then Taylor and I slept together. So, frankly, just 4 absolutely terrible human beings. Now, again, you're probably thinking to yourself, why should I care? Who cares about this? I'm not going to watch it. people my age and the people younger, and if you are my age and if you are younger, this is the type of stuff we watch. I love reality television. This is the type of stuff that I used to watch all the time. But now it's almost as if I'm putting on my Christian eyeglasses instead of my secular eyeglasses. Because when I wore my secular eyeglasses, this type of stuff, I ate it up. Okay? Absolutely loved this type of stuff. The Too Hot to Handle show, watched it. All of the kind of, sexually explicit reality television shows, when I had my secular eyeglasses on, absolutely ate it up and loved it. Now that I'm kind of, putting my Christian eyeglasses on and I'm trying to, focus in more on what God wants for my life, when I was watching the show, I physically got sick to my stomach because it was so horrifying. And so if you are my age or if you're younger and you're watching this, think of it that way. Put on your Christian glasses or whatever, metaphor that you want to use, and watch something that way. Because we can still enjoy things. I still enjoy a lot of reality television because not all of it is so sexually explicit or so, meant to basically make you sin. Instead of Temptation Island, it literally should just be called Sin. Sin on an island for people to watch. Okay, and when you think of it like that, I'm putting on my secular glasses and yeah, I'm loving it. This is great. However, when I put on my Christian glasses and I'm watching this, and now I'm thinking, okay, wow, this is absolutely awful. That's a sin. That's a blatant sin. That's a blatant sin. And the difference is that's a blatant sin, no remorse. That's a blatant sin, no remorse. That's a blatant sin. Oh, they're laughing about it. They think it's great. That's the difference. So then the rest of the episode continues. Okay, so we've met all of the couples. The couples have basically each explained why they shouldn't be together, and the fact that they're even on, I'm just going to continue to call it Sin Island. The fact that they're on Sin Island is awful. So they've explained why they're there. The guy's like, be open to this experience. All of the single girls come out, and let me just tell you, they're all essentially half naked. I mean, it's when that joke I made earlier, I was not joking. It's essentially, floss holding them together. Okay? Dental floss. And oh my gosh, these guys are with their girlfriends, right? They're literally sitting right next to each other. And these girls are right next to their boyfriends watching I mean, girl, I've done this too. You see a girl walk by and you're looking at your man like, are you looking? Anyways, so these girls are doing that. The single girls who are literally called the temptresses walk in to the villa, and these guys are sitting next to their girlfriends. They're like, wow, she's hot. Oh, I love her butt. Oh, I love her butt. I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? It's awful. Then the single guys walk in, and these girls, they say, oh, he's attractive, or oh, but they're kind of, keeping themselves. It's whatever. Then the host announces that each of the single girls and each of the single guys will come up and introduce themselves, and they'll each be able to give the bracelet that they're wearing to one of the couple, like, people. So a guy to a girl to a guy that they find the most attractive and want to get to know better. So it's just literally a recipe for drama and absolute anger. So the guys start coming up one by one, the girls start coming out one by one, and I mean, it's just an absolute recipe for disaster. And from there, it just kind of ends. The girls kind of go their separate ways, the guys go their separate ways. And, there's nothing really more crazy to report. Then they each have to pick out somebody to date, like to go on their first date with. They have to watch it, and it's awful. But I mean, kind of how I stated before, but a little bit more in depth. One of the main reasons I wanted to, bring it to your attention today is it's called Temptation Island. It should just be called Sin Island, like I said. But this is the type of content that people are putting, big loads of money behind, because this is the type of content that sells. Sin. We live in a world where sin sells. I mean, it's literally called Temptation Island. I wish there were more Christian television shows for us to watch, or even, television shows that are made by like conservative Christian companies that maybe aren't exactly coming from a Christian basis, but for a fact that they're not going to try to, influence you with sin, or they're not going to try to, make it popular to laugh about threesomes or laugh about, having sex with a bartender while you're married. And so part of the reason that I wanted to bring it to you today also is just to watch what you are consuming and watch what you are watching and listening to. Because when I was really in my most, enjoying, quote, air quotes, enjoying sin era where I just had absolutely no repentance, I was watching shows like this or listening to crazy music that was super highly inappropriate. And just the people that you spend time with and the people that I was spending time with were awful at that time. And now, kind of like the example I was using earlier, when I'm putting on my Christian glasses, it's like, why would I enjoy watching boyfriends cheat on girlfriends and girlfriends cheat on boyfriends when, like, these are real life people relationships? Or it's like, why would I enjoy listening to this song? What am I gaining? Like, what am I gaining that blesses God out of doing this? And it's okay to have things that are just fun and entertaining for you to do. That's okay. But when it's something big like Sin Island, where it just straight up goes against the Bible, against my morals, and against my beliefs, with absolutely zero repentance, without absolutely any remorse, that's where we have to draw the line as women especially. And that's where we have to draw the line as Christians. Because as Christians, we're called to follow the Bible, we're called to follow the Lord. And that doesn't mean we can't relax. That doesn't mean we can't enjoy fun things. We're allowed to have fun and we're allowed to enjoy things. That's why I bring up the idea that Christian conservative companies should be making reality shows. They should be making fun TV shows that we want to watch, just without all the crap, just without all the sin and without all the woke mind crap. Just have things that people can just sit back and enjoy, because that is okay to sit back and enjoy. But when I'm like, oh, I'm going through Netflix because I want to relax after a night after a day of watching my daughter, what should I watch? And the number one recommendation is Sin Island. That's not okay. And so the main, lesson that I want you to take away from this is kind of the glasses theory. Looking at things with your secular glasses on, you're going to see the world and it's all going to be great. There's going to be absolutely zero anything wrong, because everything is relative. You should be able to do whatever you want. But when you put your Christian glasses on, you know, you see the world completely different. And it reminds me of this quote is, if you enjoy God more, you will enjoy sin less. And so TV shows like this that I would have ate up like 4 years ago, Temptation Island would have been my jam. But now that I'm enjoying God more, I now enjoy watching these, sinful things less. And don't get me wrong, I will always watch reality television show because I am still a girl and I will always and forever love those. However, when it starts to become something where it completely 100% goes against my morals, that's where you have to draw a line. And I would encourage you that that's where you have to draw the line as well, because there are some things that you can still enjoy. Like, let's get controversial. Take Taylor Swift, for example. I absolutely love Taylor Swift. Now, there are some songs that I don't, listen to hers of, that I just either don't like, or that sometimes, what is that? There's that one song that she's like, oh, being gay, lol. And so I don't listen to that because that goes against my morals. However, You Belong With Me from her Fearless album, that's a well known one. What goes against, you know, my morals in that song? Now, do Taylor Swift and I agree on everything politically and religiously? No. No, we don't. Do you agree with everything politically and religiously when you go to Walmart and you spend your money there? No. So, there are lines to draw, and identifying those lines can be difficult. And that's why, again, I kind of give you that glasses theory. Because when I am listening to Taylor Swift, I put on my Christian glasses and I go, Love Story, You Belong With Me, Mean, Sparks, all Taylor Swift songs that I love, I'm like, great song, great song, great song, great song, doesn't go against my morals, doesn't go against my morals, doesn't go against my morals. However, when we're singing about, gay pride, or maybe we're singing about like promiscuous sex or any of that, then I'm like, okay, I need to draw the line at that, because that goes against my morals. And I feel like we as a society, and just as women, when we're kind of navigating these certain circumstances, we need to learn how to put on these glasses and go, yeah, I mean, if I had my secular glasses on, all of this would be great. I'd love all of it. But what would happen if I put on my Christian glasses right now? Would the Bible, would God agree with what I'm doing right now? And if the answer is no, or if even if you have a gut feeling where you're like, on the S side? The answer is probably no. I hope you enjoyed, this episode. I have a lot of great guests coming on that I am absolutely so excited about. I reached out to a bunch of different women to share their testimonies and to share their stories with us. And so, I have the next, 6 weeks lined up with interviewing people. I'm even going to have my first edition of Man Talk Monday. And I'm going to do this every now and then, not often because this is a woman focused podcast, but every now and then I thought it'd be fun to kind of switch it up a little bit. We're not sexist here on the Let's Talk podcast, and get a man's perspective. So that will be coming out soon. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can watch on YouTube, Rumble. I always put episodes on X, or you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can follow me on Twitter, Anastasia_Hibbs. Thanks so much.